This is Christine A. Smith, founder of the PreAct Your Age Journal and host of the Aging Better Network, a website of resources for actively retired individuals. My guest on this podcast will introduce their own product or service in just a few minutes. It's 2022 and I just started using my new independent planner. I want to thank Independent Planner for making this podcast possible. The Independent Planner has been designed by an entrepreneur for entrepreneurs. Order your independent planner at independent-planner.com. Hello, Blessing.
Hello, Christine. How are you today?
I'm excited to ask you this question. It's not an exciting question, but did you get dinner before we started this?
I did. I'm just finished dinner, so full stomach, happy to be here.
But you always are.
I'm delighted to be here.
I'm glad. I'm excited to ask that because over my shoulder is the rising sun. So I'm just going to turn for a moment and say I put these.
Oh, look at you with your beautiful Aries.
Yes, they are.
The three-leaf clover, huh? How
Yes,
good.
and
Did you
they
do
were,
that in honor of me?
of course, they were actually purchased in your neighborhood.
Oh,
And
very good.
that was several years ago because D. Scott Smith, who happens to be both my producer and my husband, that's when he met you.
He
4
did.
years ago, maybe?
Maybe longer, I think, but however. Oh, time flies when you're having fun.
Oh, I am so excited for our audience to get to know you because they know it's breakfast time here, dinner time there. But before we get to that part, I know that we talked ahead of time about planning. I love it that the independent planner is the sponsor of this because planning ahead, tell me about something that you have done right for someone challenged by aging.
It's no big secret. My father passed away there only last year, and it obviously very challenging times leading up to his passing and stuff like that. But my father was quite pragmatic in the sense that he always wanted to have everything sorted. So I suppose we sat down and we had that chat. We talked about what he wanted to do, how he, all the information that I needed to know when eventually it happened. But I think it was us sitting down and going through it. Like I was asking him the questions that I needed answers to be able to give him, I suppose, and we say it over here in Ireland, it's, giving them a good send off type of thing as such. But it was understanding that what he needed and what was he had planned and what he would have liked to see or what he would like to happen on when he passed by. So I think we sat down and done that. So I think that was a very, very very good thing to do with regards to helping him, because there was some things that he was saying, oh, I'd forgot about that, or likewise he would say to me, we maybe wanted to do this, and I'm going, okay, people that he wanted at, and say when he was being and at his mass and stuff like that, things that he'd wanted said and all that. So I think that was a really, really, it was great, and it was very it was great for me because I knew then exactly what I had to do, and it helped him, and he was then at a lot more ease with that. So I think that was probably one of the big things that I would have done in that respect.
You're a good son.
Well, you try to be. You can only do it
Yeah.
your best.
Yeah. And for both of you, I didn't know you at that time,
Mm.
but for both of you, that was life in that moment.
Yes, definitely. Definitely.
And then you probably talked about I don't know. Do you watch soccer, football?
No, but my father would have been a keen, keen man who used to like a lot of westerns and a lot of war movies and
Oh,
stuff like that. So
yeah,
we'd sit down and we'd pull out some old war movies and we'd watch them, whether that be on DVD or on the TV or whatever. But it was spending that time, and it was great in that respect to be able to do that. So
yeah.
and it gave us a lot of time to sort of prepare for what
Mhm.
was going to happen because he wasn't a well man. He knew he wasn't a well man, So like that, it was a great way to sort of spend that time. So and I think it gives you a lot of solace as well
Yeah.
when you do this from a personal point of view. You know that you like. I have a friend who's going through it at the moment, and I was
Mhm.
saying to them, you need to spend as much time as you can. You need to say the things that you need to say. You need to do the things that you need to have those memories and all that because time is precious and it really is precious.
You used it well. Could you also describe how you felt when you faced or when someone else was facing an aging crisis for which you just were unprepared?
Well, okay, this is sort of a funny story. Okay,
Oh,
so
okay.
well, yeah, well, and
Yeah,
look, Christine, you know me at this stage. I find humor. I try and find humor in everything,
you
but
do.
I remember going to a certain club in Dublin, and the guy turned around and says to me, "You're a bit old for it to be coming in here." And I'm looking at him going, "What do you mean by that?" And he said, "Well, you look a bit," and I'm going, "Oh, okay." And it was that realization that yes, and I get it the same with my girls. Like I'll say, "Oh, like what I do, I use a lot of social media," and I'd say to like TikTok came out, and I said to my youngest, I said, "Oh, we'll have to do a TikTok there," and she went, "Dad, I don't think so." That type of way. So you sort of go, right, okay, there's a bit of an age difference there. And, like my dad used to always say, I have the body of an 80-year-old, but I have the mind of a 21-year-old. And I'd be sort of in the similar vein that what do you mean we can't do it? So, but I suppose that's one of those things that it's that realization of going, okay, so there's some of these things that make you think and make you sort of go, okay, I need to step back. And you're going out and say, oh, I'll help you with that moving whatever it may be, you know emptying a load of stuff out of a van, and you go, I can't do this anymore because I'm too old to do this. That I'm not that young man. And the lads these guys are throwing boxes, and you go, so
It
anyway.
gets you coming and going. It gets you coming and going because either you volunteer and say, "Hey, I'll help," and they go, "Oh, what if you fall
Yeah,
down? Do you have a number you want
exactly.
us to call?"
Yeah.
And then you're
And
like, "What?" Or they say, "Come on, help us," and you're like, "I can't keep this up."
I was
Don't
doing
they
I was
know?
I was doing work with a friend only last week. I was helping him out. He obviously with COVID and stuff like that, his staff were depleted and stuff. And he says, "Can you give me a hand?" So I went over, and one of the guys, I was working with them in the warehouse, and I was doing paperwork. And he says, "Look, we're after getting a trailer in. Any chance of you giving us a hand to offload it?" And I'm going, "Yeah, yeah, sure." Yeah, age really kicked in there. Let's just put it that way. So
You used to back in my
yeah,
day.
but I did, and that's where I started. So like I was, oh yeah, yeah, and then I'm not as young as I used to be. But anyway, that's it.
Oh my goodness. Okay. Your turn. Is there, I mean, there is, there's got to be one question, maybe more, about aging that you want to put to me. And I promise I have not heard this ahead of time. Go for it.
Um, I suppose, and I've seen the work that you do, and I understand what you're talking about, and that. So I don't know. I think one of my question would be is what are the things, or what is the thing that we should really be concentrating on as we start to get into that latter part of our lives? What is the one thing that would stand out that you think people should do, like I should do, sort of in the build up to it? Let's just put it that way.
So you want the one most important thing.
Well, one, I suppose, yeah, yeah. What one would you be? What would one would be on top of your list, as a guidance for someone?
I actually have that answer. I think after all these years, I think that one is something that I could answer right away.
Mm.
However, we're going to go to our break. The PreAct Your Age journal guides you to pre-plan for the emotional and relational impacts of growing older. Practice navigating one aspect of aging at a time with PreAct Your Age. While your mind is clear, your emotions are calm, and your relationships are deep. I wanted to give both of us a chance to get a drink of water because I've been laughing a lot and I wanted to make sure I could make it through this. So the answer to that question is right on the tip of my tongue. However, I'm such a but first person as far as like cleaning the house or getting something done, but first, and then hours later I finally get to it because I have all these but first. So not in this situation. We're going to go through very quickly because it is called the lightning round. And Alan, in each of these scenarios, you are that person. You are a person who is either unavailable or just unable in that moment to make a decision for yourself. So you're
Mm.
going to choose, you can say generally a category of a person, or you can be very specific and personalize it as much as you want. A person to whom you can defer with confidence that this will be taken care of. So I don't choose this ahead of time for you. You do. So I have 13 here, and you can, lucky 13, the earrings come back in, the 3-leaf clover. Lucky 13 of these, you can choose any number that you would like, and I will read you that scenario. And if you say, well, I already have that written down in a document, or, like a will or something, you can refer to that. So what number do you choose, Alan?
I'm just going to go with what comes to mind first, and that's number 7.
Number 7. You are on your back and surrounded by EMTs, and you don't know why or what happened. Who or what should give them necessary details about you right in this minute?
It would definitely be my one true love, my wife. She would be the one person that knows everything, knows exactly about everything about me. So she would be the only person that they would, or my eldest daughter as well. She would be the other one, but I suppose really it would be my wife, would be, because she's my closest friend and the love of my life as well. And I know she knows everything about me, and she'd be, I'd be very confident for her to do that for me.
Wonderful. I'm going to have you select another one because that was quick. That was kind of quick and easy. Go ahead and select any other number.
We'll go with number 3.
Alan, you don't feel like yourself, and you open your med minder. That's where the pills are all laid out for each day. You're sure you did everything right, but somehow there are pills in the wrong places. Who or what Do you consult immediately, knowing that your next dose is due within the hour?
Um, I suppose that would really be. I suppose it'd be my doctor, and it'd also be Linda, my wife, as well. But I think the doctor, I'd be concerned and saying, okay, right, something to be sure, to be sure that I was taking the right med. So I would say probably my doctor. He's my doctor for the last 50 years, 40 years, and 50 years. So, yeah. So,
Oh, there,
well,
our
I would
audience is
say,
jealous of you right now because so
yeah,
many
I would
people
say
have to
40
change and
years. Yeah.
change.
Yeah. Well,
Oh,
I originally did, and many years ago, I did change the doctor, and I just wasn't happy with them, and I I just went straight back after, I think it was 2 visits, and I said, "This is not right." I don't have a doctor. I don't When I say I have a doctor, my doctor is he's been a family doctor all our lives, and it's been his generation in his family. So they're a family of doctors, so it's private practice. So it's sort of been passed down. But at the same token, he's treated all my family. Not that I go to the doctor a lot, which I'm very blessed and touch wood. That's the way. But for situations like that, it would definitely be my doctor, and then obviously my wife as well.
your choice. We can quit right now and move towards the next portion, or you can choose one more. What do you really feel like?
I'm easy. I'm happy to answer this. I love this quick fire round. This is great. Let's jump and do another one. So let's pick number. We'll go top of the house, number 13.
Number 13, he is feeling lucky. Part of your therapy includes steroids that will alter your personality in a way that will impact your relationships. Who or what will you trust to tell you that now you really are back to normal?
Um, there'd be two people there. One again would be my wife, because obviously she's my closest friend, but the other one would be my best friend from when we were babies. Like, so we've grown up together. I have no brothers or sisters, so my best friend is I've always classed him as my brother, and he's the closest thing to a brother I have, and he would be the one who knows me, and he would the one who would guide me and let me know. So yeah, it would be definitely him. So my best friend as well. So there you
Wow,
go.
you were just clear on all of those. I applaud you. You have these great connections and wonderful family members. I'm
But I
so
think,
glad.
yeah, and I think that's very important. I think that's very important. I know, but personally, with me, it is. I'm very important. I have a lot of acquaintances. I've huge,
Mm,
as we all do, but I
mhm.
have best friends and a very, very close knit people, confidants that I would speak to, and that I would trust. So, excuse me. So they're sort of, so the key members. So I know that I can trust them or call on them for anything, and they likewise they would know the same with me, and I think that's so important, and especially as we start to get older, we start to rely on that more, and we start to,
Mhm.
you know have that support, and knowing that you have that support gives you, I suppose it gives you so much peace of mind, as much as anything else, that you know that someone is there for you. And I think they're key. And I think it's down to love, it's down to tenderness, it's down to kindness, but it's also down to, I suppose, loyalty and friendship. And I think they are the keys. At the end of the day, everything else in this world pales into insignificance if you don't have love or happiness or friendship in your life with people that are surrounded, and you can surround yourself with good people like that. And I think it's so important. There's nothing more important in this world than that, I think.
Oh, we're on the same beam. I'm tempted to answer your question right now. I'm going to hold it back just for a moment because when we talked beforehand, I asked you about someone. It could be you, someone else who has already taken action or communicated or written something down, you know,
Mm.
legal and notarized, or just a letter in advance of anything happening, anything going wrong, anything that's changing drastically. But in advance of that, they preacted their age, and you said you had an answer for that.
Yeah, I suppose my mum passed away 16 years ago. Um, and prior to that, so we're talking maybe 20, 22 years ago. So about 6 or 7 years before she passed away, and she had a, she had a bad accident, and it led
Mm,
on to complications in anyways. Prior to that, when she was well, my grandfather had the house that I lived in from as a child was his house, and he had always said to my mum that make sure that when everything's said and done, and you go and your dad and my dad goes, that all the legal stuff is done, that the house will be Alan's, right? And she had always said that to me. She's always like, and as I was growing up, she had always said, and you do, like, you sort of go, oh yeah, great and whatever, and that's what you don't think much of it. But she, so say 22, 23 years ago, she went to the solicitors and she got all the documentation done, got all the papers signed, got me to sign them, got me thing, and actually done it prior to even her passing and my dad's passing, that it was all done that way. So really that preempting, and that, I suppose, having that vision to go ahead and do that and get things sorted, because there was a lot of things about that, Christine, that
mm,
really were sort of very telling. That my mother was, one, she was very organized, but
mhm,
two, she was very, um I suppose, practical, in a sense, to say that like, this is done, everything was in place. And even prior to her passing away, she had had that conversation with me, and she says, there's three things in this world that I want when I pass away. And I'll tell you two of them. One of them is a bit more personal, but two of them
mm,
was is that she wanted to be buried with her daddy, and that she wanted to be laid out in her own home. And
mm,
they were done to the letter, because they were the things that she wanted. So I was able to do them for her, and which gave me, of course, great solace in knowing that she's looking down, and that's what and she's seeing that I did everything that she wanted. So, and still to this day, I don't think a mother son or mother daughter relationship is a very, very strong thing. And I had a very strong bond with Mam, and I still to this day will talk
mm.
to her, and still to this day I think about her. There's not a day that doesn't go by that I don't think about her, and she's dead 18 years now at this stage. So and the only reason I know that is because my second daughter was born 2 days after my mum passed away.
Oh,
So we can never forget the anniversary, or my daughter's
right.
birthday, because they this year in the space of 2 days. So it's one in, one out. That's the way life happens. But my only biggest regret is that she never got to meet her granddaughter. But she thinks about her, and she's very close to her. So there
Oh,
you go. You'll have me in floods of tears next.
oh, gracious. Oh, I can tell you the answer to your question because you've already answered it. So the word is intentional.
Hmm.
You intend. I intend, instead of past tense, I intended to talk to you about that. I intended to write that down. It was my intention to have those details ready. You're doing it. And like you said, Alan, here you are going, everybody's fine. We're out there doing stuff. Everybody's fine. But yeah, okay, you got this paperwork ready. That's good.
Mm,
And now decades from now, you you and your kids will still be going, "Oh boy, they just did that right." And so
yeah.
be very intentional how you connect with people. If it's an acquaintance that you think they're very organized, I'm not. So go to that acquaintance if you feel that you can trust them. You're like, how should I go through all this? This is my intention. I intend to say to them, hey, if I ever lose my ability to recognize you or to tell you that I love you. I just want to do that right now. And
Mm,
here's this organized person going, oh, stick a note in here and make sure and blah, blah, blah. And on that special day, they'll be able to just treasure that moment, and be intentional there and be intentional with the people that you're close to of saying, I want you to know that this is your category, or
mm,
intentional saying, I do not want you to have this as a burden on you, and then give them the opportunity to say, I agree with that. Or I go with your
yeah.
decision. Or can we
Yeah.
talk about this? Can we make a little adjustment there? So be
Uh,
intentional, communicate, people that you're close to, people that are distant enough to be able to be neutral in those moments,
mm,
but keep touch with them. And it doesn't hurt to do trade off with someone else. It's like, you know, you can be there to be a buffer in that situation, and consider me your buffer too if you want,
mm,
in that situation, just that extra person to turn to. A lot of families are very small and very distant in different ways, so
yeah.
it's nice to have a neutral person on tap as well.
Yeah, and it is. It's very true. It is, and I think as well. I think as you start to get older, you start to realize that, and you start to put things in place. But yet again, there's a stage where you sort of say to yourself, "Oh, well, I'll do that, next year, or I'll do that in 5 years' time." And look, I've seen it. I've seen it happen very quickly, and I've seen it happen with friends of mine who had just like I was speaking to a friend of mine only 3 weeks ago, and next of all, I got a message last week saying that he had a massive heart attack. And these are the type of things that we I think with our parents, as we grow up and as we're children and stuff like that, and as we're in that teenage years, and then I suppose them early adult years, we sort of say, oh, mom and dad will live forever, they'll live, and they'll always be there, and that, and I think people are starting to understand now that, okay, I need to make plans here for the future, because there is going to come a time when I can't do that. And I always remember my dad even saying to me, all the insurance policies, they're all in the top drawer in the front room,
Right,
and they're all there. Everything's there that you need. And in fairness, like, I didn't even check them, but I knew they were there. But like,
right.
he was preempting this and letting me know. And I think in the day and age that we're in now, I think it's so important that we do this as opposed to do. And I think the work that you're doing, and this podcast and this live videos and stuff like that, I think this is so important, because it spurs on people to understand this and sort of take that into consideration. And you're talking to people who are, you know that are either in tune with this or in sight with this, or are just the general people that are sort of going, okay, I didn't think about it this way. And I think that's so important, as we move through this phase of our lives, type of thing. And I think it's really important to do it, and I'm starting to even think about it now and saying, what do I need to put in place? You know?
I appreciated a person who's big in the industry of aging, talking about living into your future, living into your future. It isn't,
Mm,
it isn't, oh wow, I'm getting close to the end.
yeah, yeah.
because then you avoid it. And it's like a bad topic or something. It's like, how am I living into my future? I would go on, but our audience deserves to know, Alan Hennessy, who are you? How can they get a hold of you? They just want to be your friend right now. They absolutely love everything that you've said. Either they're going, oh, yeah, we've got that covered, or, oh, my goodness, maybe he can give me. But you have abilities, at least three of them that I can think of right now. And I want you to tell them how they can get a hold of you.
No problem. Happy to do it. Well, I suppose the big reveal. This is so. Is this what we're going to call this? You should have this section
How do
as the
you
big
how do you
reveal on your
bless
show.
other people? What do you do to bless other people? And then you tell us what your business is.
Yeah, so basically, my name, as we can see, is Alan Hennessy. It's the digital mentor. So I help people to navigate the digital landscape. And that's from every angle, from the complete novice up to the entrepreneur that wants to build a brand, to, just to become more visible online. And that's what I do. I have a company called Compass Media. It's a digital marketing agency, but my key focus is the digital mentors, where I actually spend most of my time. I still run the business, and I still work within the business, but my biggest passion is seeing people getting that visibility and getting them light bulb moments to be able to go, "Oh, I can do this," or I know how to do this, or I know the steps that I need to take. And when I see that, that fills me with joy. And it's something that I really enjoy doing, is teaching and training and mentoring people and showing them, and not mentoring them as in you have to do this and have to do this. It's teaching and showing them that they nearly start to do this for themselves. And the beauty of what I do, Christine, is that the digital mentorship can be used in every aspect of your life. So it's mentorship as much as anything for life, and for your business as much as anything is, and can be adapted into any scenarios. But it's showing up and giving people that, sharing that visibility and building that awareness. So that's what I do. That's what I love to do. And if anyone's interested, and wants to talk to me, I'm happy to chat with them. Um, Probably the easiest way to find me is on LinkedIn. If you search for Alan Hennessy, you'll find me. And yeah, and the website is Compass Media, and we're currently building the digital mentor website. So there's loads of stuff coming up, and I'm um, also writing a book at the moment. So that's one of my next phases. And plus, I have two podcasts as well. So I have the Social Media Talks podcast and the Curious Fire podcast, which I do with a good friend of mine in the UK. So there you go. That's all about me.
Entrepreneurs in my time zone do not need to discount Alan Hennessy and think, oh, if only he was in my time zone, because I have talked to him at both ends of the day, and he is so available. And he's got two offices, and they're both on his property. That is how diligent and how dedicated he
Yeah, I'm
is.
happy to talk. I'm a night bird, but I can also be a very early bird. And 9 times out of 10, I would do a lot of work in the evenings. And as you say, I'm available anytime, because I'm a firm believer in saying this, Christine, is geography is history. We can work anywhere. I have a number of clients in the States that I work with. So, don't think just because I'm in Ireland that I can't work with you, because I can, you know.
Yes, and he does. He does with my husband successfully. Oh, Alan. Okay, say again how they can get a hold of you. And it's Hennessy with a Y at the end, no extra E in there.
Yeah, so it's HENNESSY. There's no E, at the end, as they say. And you'll find me on LinkedIn at Alan Hennessy. I'm also on Twitter at Compass Media and on Instagram, Compass Media as well. And the website is compassmedia.ie. That's compass with a K, so KOMPASS. And it's .ie. So yeah, if you go there, and the other way I always say to people is just go to Google and just type in Alan Hennessy, and you guarantee it, I'm going to pop up on the front, on the first page. So that's how you find me.
I'm a brand new techno toddler, which means I run around and touch everything and get into trouble. And Alan is truly a digital mentor and leads along patiently. Thank you very much. I am so glad that we had this time together. Thanks so much, Alan. It was really
It was
important and really
it
good.
was a pleasure and a delight to be on the show with you today. I really enjoyed it, and it was such an interesting conversation. So thank you for the opportunity to let me come and talk and play with you, as I always say.
Please visit my guest. You'll find their link in the show notes. I'm glad you listened in on our conversation as we both navigated one aspect of aging at a time on this PreAct Your Age podcast. All of the ideas and thoughts expressed on any PreAct Your Age podcast are candid conversations and opinions. For medical, financial, or legal advice, consult a professional.